Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Defining Discipline is a lifestyle, a mentality, and a brand. And within this podcast, we're going to focus on self-improvement as you follow along with me on my journey. We will also hear from special guests of all walks of life on this podcast and their remarkable journeys that led them to where they are today. Today is day 120 of my journey. And at the beginning of the year, I challenged myself to run 365 days consecutively, all outside, bearing the elements, whatever they may bring. I also challenged myself to run 1,250 miles within that time frame. Now, this is only my second full year ever running. Within the first full year running, I was able to run 1,001 miles. And I did that in 175 days out of that year. So this is a 25% step up in the amount of miles I will be running and 100% step up in the amount of days I will be running. So for day 120, I was able to get out there and pump out 4.7 miles. Now that put me at 32.2 miles for the week. For those who have followed along before, they know that my bare minimum miles for a week is 25, and I like to hit around 33 at least on average for a week. So now we're sitting at 32.2. We got 2 more days left to pump out some miles. Maybe we'll get a new PR for weekly miles. The PR right now is 37.9. So every single month I do a 100-mile challenge, and I do this because I realized that I would have to do 100 miles every single month, just over 100 miles every month, in order to hit the 1250 goal that I had set for myself. So I decided if I'm going to do 100 miles anyways, I might as well do them for charity. Every single month I have done a fundraiser for a different charity, reflecting kind of on the month. So for January we did the American Cancer Society. We raised money and hit the 100-mile challenge. February, we did the Detroit Black Community Food Security Network, raised money, and hit the 100-mile challenge. March, we raised money for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, and we hit the 100-mile challenge. April, we have raised money for Autism Speaks, and we have hit the 100-mile challenge. If you would like to still make a donation to Autism Speaks, you can find the link on the Defining Discipline Instagram and Facebook stories, as well as my personal pages, Instagram and Facebook stories. Within the story, at the very top of the story, it'll say donate on Facebook. You click on that, it'll open up another link on Facebook where you can find and donate however much money you would like to donate to this fundraiser. Know that all money that gets donated goes directly to the fundraiser and the charity. I take 0% and Facebook takes 0%. That's why I continue to do each of these fundraisers through Facebook, because they are taking 0 cuts. Other than that, I get that times are tough, so if you can't donate right now and you still would like to help out with this fundraiser, the best thing that you could possibly do is just click that share button so other people on your friends list that are not friends with me will be able to see it and maybe they can donate. Just keep sharing it and keep spreading the awareness for these fundraisers every single month. This one for the month of April being for Autism Speaks. The month of April is actually over after today, but this fundraiser will be going on until May 7th or May 8th. Don't have the official date offhand. But speaking of that, tomorrow is May 1st, and we will have a new fundraiser, and we will talk about that tomorrow. But speaking about miles for the month, I actually just set a PR. Well, I set it a few days ago, but every day I keep running throughout the month after that PR. I just keep pushing it. And I set a good PR that I really had set for myself to set this month, and that is 150.4 miles, guys. Really stoked about it. Was able to put out 150 miles in 30 days. It's just awesome. It's great. So after today's run, though, of the 4.7, that put me at 32.2 for the week, put me at 150.4 miles for the month, and it put me at 515.3 miles for the year, guys. Now, I did set the goal for 1250, but once we get a little bit closer to 1,000, we're going to see how it feels and how far along in the year we are once we hit that 1,000-mile mark, and we'll see how we feel. We might push the goal up to 1,500 instead of 1,250. Other than that, let's just kind of get into today's episode 120. We're going to keep it short. We're going to keep it sweet. We're going to keep it simple, because if you guys have been following along, at the end of every single month, we just kind of do a month in review. And I've kind of just went over a little bit of everything. We really grinded it out this month, put in those miles, especially just right after having our first, my first daughter. lack of sleep, but I wanted to make sure I got out there every day, especially at the beginning of the month. I wanted to get out there and just put in at least 30 minutes. I wasn't trying to go for a lot of big long runs at the beginning of the month. But I wanted to make sure I was putting at least, a mid-size run, a 5K, and then just keeping it steady with that. And that's what I kind of did for the first few weeks. I think the second day of April was the only day I ran 1.5 miles. Other than that, everything else was a 5K or more. And there were some days where I put out big miles, and, it was just an awesome month. Was able to spread it out. Was able to hit a couple cool places, different places, nothing special or anything, but it was just a good month. Weather was great. Rainy days, some days, but other than that, I could not complain. Chilly days, hot days, you got a little bit of all the weather you could ask for. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, so for the first week, which wasn't a full week, it was just 4 days of April out of a week, so there's 3 days that don't count for it. But, I was able to put 3.6 in, and then 1.5, and 3.7, and then a 6.9 out of the first 4 days. And then now it hits back to a Monday, April 5th. I put 6.7, 3.6, 3.6, 3.6, 3.6, 13.2. So that week was actually my PR week of all time. I put in 37.9 miles that week. That was my PR for amount of miles in a week. So that was a really awesome week. Like I said, all 3.5, 3.6, or all 3.6s, and a 6.7 and a 13.2. So that was awesome. Then the following week, it was 3.6, 3.6, 3.6, 6.8, 3.6, 3.6, 10, 35 miles. And then April 19th through 25th, 3.8, 3.6, 3.6, 3.6, 3.2, 3.7, 8. So that was 29.6 miles, and now we only had 5 days of this week to finish off the month of April. And I really wanted to pump out those miles because at April 25th or whatever, after that 8-mile day, I was sitting, pretty decent, where I thought to myself, I can hit this 150. I got to really just pump out some miles here, though, nonstop. So Monday, April 26th, we pumped out 9.3. Then we pumped out 7 the next day, 7 the following day after that, 4.1, and then 4.7. Put us at 150.4 miles for the month, guys. That is a PR. So stoked about it. So glad I got out there and grinded this month. Really pushed myself. Now looking forward to the month ahead. I will be starting to, at least the first couple weeks, still trying to push it and put in a lot of miles. And then we're going to start the taper to get ready for that race in the beginning of June. So you can follow along with that in these next few episodes. I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. I do have to get this uploaded. I have to get ready. I have to go to work here in a couple hours. So thank you guys so much for listening along. For your daily discipline for the day, though, it is to do also a review. Look back at this past month. What have you accomplished this past month? May it be diet-wise. May it be remodeling or just cleaning up your house, reorganizing-wise. Maybe it's things you've accomplished at work. Maybe it's exercise goals like me. Maybe it's whatever the case may be. There's plenty of things that you could have accomplished this month. Let's kind of go back and look at those and really think how far you came, and then think about the month before, and then the month before that. Just think about these past few years and how much progress you've just made in this past month compared to the months before that and just the years before that. And kind of think about that, and then think about this next month coming up. And think about the progress you can make just in this next month that would make this progress that you've made in this past month of April. Think about what you could do in this month coming up that will make the progress you've done in April look like nothing, and just continue to do that. I think that is the thing to do, is to really analyze what you've been doing, where you've come, and really continue to push yourself to continue to be better. There's always room for improvement, guys, and that's what these reviews of the months are kind of about, is to really look back and see, hey, I just pumped out 150 miles this month. This is my best month ever. I'm going to look back at the other months, like when I did 133 in 28 days in February. that was my PR before. Thinking back to then, like, well, I hit 133 and thinking, wow, that was a lot. Now I'm looking at 150 being like, 133 is nothing, man. So now I'm going to look forward to May. I know I'm not going to probably hit 150, nowhere near to probably maybe not even in June because of the race, because I might be so beat up after the race. I might not be able to put in a lot of miles right away. But this 150 mark now, now I'm looking for 300K in a month. I'm looking for 180. That doesn't seem too far off now that I could hit this 150. So it's just keep really reviewing the things that you've done this past month and think about the things that you can push forward towards this next month coming up. That is your daily discipline for the day, guys. Thank you so much for listening and following along. This is the Defining Discipline podcast. Please give us a like, a share, a subscribe, and a follow on our Instagram, our Facebook, our YouTube, and whatever podcast streaming platforms you guys have been listening on. If you guys have any questions, concerns, or any kind of things you want to talk about, please shoot us a message on any of those platforms as well. Would love to hear from you. Planning on really trying to implement guests soon. I keep saying that, but it is coming, I promise. And just thanks for being so patient and following along, guys. 120 days done. I'll see you guys tomorrow for 121. I have a special surprise for that day as well. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Thank you so much. And just keep grinding, stay disciplined. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.